The Cursed Grove, Whispers of the Forgotten. Chapter 1, The Forbidden Path. The town of Ravenshade had a secret, a forest so cursed that even its name had been erased from maps. The locals called it the Cursed Grove. Legends spoke of whispers in the trees, eerie shadows, and missing travelers. No one who entered after dark ever returned. Eleanor Hart, a historian, dismissed these tales as superstitions. Determined to uncover the truth, she packed her notebook, flashlight, and camera, and set off toward the Forbidden Grove. By the time she reached the entrance, the sun was setting. As she stepped inside, the wind ceased, and the air grew heavy. A strange whisper drifted through the trees. "Turn back." But Eleanor pressed on. Chapter 2, The Vanishing Forest. The deeper Eleanor walked, the darker the grove became. The moonlight barely pierced the twisted branches, casting eerie shadows. She reached for her map, but it made no sense. The paths had changed. The grove was shifting around her. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. She spun around, her flashlight flickering. Nothing. Then, from the corner of her eye, she saw a figure standing between the trees. A tall, faceless silhouette with hollow, glowing eyes. And it was watching her. Chapter 3, The First Warning. Eleanor's breath hitched. She reached for her camera and took a photo. Click. The flash illuminated the trees, but the figure was gone. Only the whispers remained. "Leave, before they take you too." Her heart pounded, but she forced herself to move forward. Then, she found something strange and old, rusted pocket watch, half buried in the dirt. She picked it up and wiped away the grime. The hands were frozen at 3:06 a.m. The same time 3 hikers had disappeared in the grove decades ago. Chapter 4, The Forgotten Ones. A sudden gust of wind sent leaves swirling around her, forming words on the ground. "Help US." Her blood ran cold. "Who are you?" she whispered. Then, she saw them, figures emerging from the trees. Pale, ghostly, hollow-eyed people in tattered clothes, their mouths moving silently. They were the Forgotten Ones. Lost souls, trapped in the grove. And they were trying to warn her. But before she could run, a hand clamped onto her wrist. And behind her, the shadow returned. Chapter 5, The Cursed Guardian. The shadow's grip tightened, ice-cold against her skin. "You should not be here." Its voice was deep, ancient, inhuman. The whispers grew deafening, the trees twisting as the grove came alive. Eleanor struggled to break free. "What do you want?" she screamed. The shadow's hollow eyes bore into her. "To keep you here, like the rest." The ground split open beneath her feet. Hands clawed at her ankles, pulling her down. The lost souls were crying out, trapped in the grove's eternal curse. Eleanor fought with everything she had, digging her nails into the dirt. Then her fingers found the pocket watch. And in that moment, she knew. Chapter 6, Breaking the Curse. With the last of her strength, Eleanor snapped the watch open. The gears clicked, the air shifted. The shadow howled in pain, releasing its grip. The trapped soul screamed, but this time, it was not in fear. It was in relief. The trees shuddered, the whispers faded, and the shadow began to dissolve. Eleanor crawled away, gasping for breath. The grove grew still. And then silence. She was alone. The lost souls had vanished. And the path was clear. Chapter 7, The Last Warning. Eleanor stumbled out of the grove, the morning sun rising over Ravenshade. Her camera was gone. But in her pocket, the rusted watch remained. She glanced down at it. The hands were now moving. Tick, tick, tick. And then the whispers returned. The curse never ends. Eleanor's blood ran cold. Because this time, they were coming for her. Epilogue, the next victim. A week later, a young journalist arrived in Ravenshade, intrigued by Eleanor's disappearance. He found a notebook near the forest entrance. The final page read, "If you hear the whispers, run." Then, from the trees, he heard it. "Come closer." And just like Eleanor, he stepped inside. Never to be seen again. Moral of the story: some curses are never broken, they only find new victims.